Hi, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Winch here with Defenders USA. Hey, I want to talk to you about something that might be important for you if you ever get yourself into a unfortunate situation where you have to use a gun and you've been taken to the ground. So if you notice, I got a target over here and I got a mat here because, well, the ground's rough. So what I'm going to do is, let's say I've gotten myself knocked to the ground. So maybe I've fallen to the ground, and if I'm lucky, maybe I've landed on my back facing towards my bad guy. So I'm there. Notice if I'm carrying appendix, I'm going to clear the garment by just pulling that up however I can towards my chin. And then when I go to get my gun from the appendix, I'm not just pulling it and pulling it up here. If I can, I want to drive my hips up, and it's an immediate pop with the muzzle. Notice how the gun came out of the holster and I immediately rotated up quickly so it's up oriented more upwards instead of downwards towards my body, and then I can take the gun and drive it out and make whatever shots I need to make. So from there, whatever I've done, whatever I've done, doesn't matter what my legs are doing. I have to be careful with my legs. Getting myself up, finger comes definitively off the trigger. If you notice, I've rolled the gun around, my finger has come off the trigger. I know it's off the trigger because I don't want the problems with sympathetic reflex of, while I do movement, of squeezing the trigger. So I still keep my muzzle oriented towards what might still be my threat area or the more dangerous area. And I'm now keeping the muzzle away from my own body as I rotate my body around, doing whatever I've got to do to work myself back up to a standing position. From there, if I no longer have anything I need to address, I'm still going to carefully clear the garment, bring the gun to my body as you can see, and I'm going to look down, verify there's simply a hole for the holster. There's nothing else there. There's no fat, gunk, shirt, hair, clothing, anything in the way. I'm going to press that. Once I know everything else is safe around me, I'm going to carefully drive the hip forward, and I'm going to slowly work the gun back into the holster. So it's safely put away, and then I'm going to reconceal the gun, even if I just have to defensively use the gun. But I only put the gun away if I know I'm safe, right? Don't ever put a gun away if you don't know for sure you're safe. Okay, so just simply so you can see how that is. So watch one more time. I'll go back down on the ground, and I'm going to do different things with my feet. Sometimes my feet will be up, or knees will be up. Sometimes my feet will be down. But I just want you to see a little bit of the drawing and shooting from the ground, working myself back up, and then safely holstering the gun. Make sure my dot's high. Okay, so here we go once again. I've fallen to the ground. I need to engage my bad guy. So I drive my hips up a little bit, draw the gun, immediately pop it up, drive the gun out, and then make whatever shots I need to make. From there, finger comes off the trigger. I work my way back up to a standing position. I verify my entire world is safe before I put this gun away. Once I've done that, I come to the body, I clear my garment, press, drive the hips forward, look and verify there's nothing that could trigger this gun as it goes back in the holster, and I safely, carefully, jealously, reluctantly, as I'm stealing the phrase from John Correa of Active Self-Protection, work it back into the holster. All right, so now what if my legs are on the ground, my feet are on the ground? I've gone back down to the ground. Maybe I've gone to the fetal position because I know if I open up, that's dangerous. So instinctually, maybe I've gone to the fetal position. My bad guy is there. I've got to be careful of my muzzle. I go to it, I drive the hips up, and it's immediately pop up or up orientation with the muzzle. Maybe I drive it out between the knees. Once I'm done, finger distinctly off the trigger. Maybe, because maybe I don't have the athleticism to do this easily. I've got to work myself slowly, painfully back up, carefully keeping my finger off the trigger. Once I know my world is safe, everything around me is okay, I carefully, slowly work it back to the target. All right, so I'll go through a couple more things here, but I wanted you to see what it's like to have to pull and use a gun from the ground. I would suggest that this is something that we need to learn in the defensive arenas of how to use a gun from different positions on the ground, and this would, I tell you, would be one of the beginning ones. Okay, so now I'm on the ground. You've got the camera now behind the target. You can actually see the impacts, but I want you to see it more from that angle. I've gone to the ground. Maybe my leaves have planted. I grab the gun, I drive the hips up, the muzzle immediately pops up. Maybe I drive a leg down, settle, make my shots. If you notice, fingers distinctly off the trigger, and then I carefully, slowly work my way back up, verify everything is safe. Once I feel like the world is safe for me again, I carefully and slowly look that gun away. Notice as I looked that gun away, I drove my hips forward a little bit, pressed, looked, and carefully worked it in. So it wasn't pointing at my femoral artery, my leg, my anything, right? So I want that completely out of the way. If for some reason it's hard for you to drive the hips forward to look down to see that, then another way is simply step off backwards, come into the holster, the gun's above the holster, I look and verify, and I carefully, slowly look the gun away. Now, what about this? What if I've fallen down to my side? I've gone down, my bad guy's here coming at me, and I need to get the gun. Well, it's more prudent for me to roll quickly, drive the hips up, pop the gun up, drive the gun out, and make the shots I need to make. Then carefully, slowly work my way back up. Carefully and slowly put the gun away once you know the world is safe for you. So you get the idea. I'm going to suggest you go out and try this in your training practice. You got to do this carefully. You got to be thoughtful of all the stuff that hangs below where the gun might be, whether it's on your hip, whether it's appendix carry like I have. You got to be careful of those things, and you want to be sure that gun doesn't point at you while it comes out, while you engage, or once you safely worked your way back up to put the gun away. Notice something, I never put the gun away on the ground. We don't put guns away on the ground, right? It just saved your life if you're fighting. And even in training, why would you put it away on the ground? Work your way back up to a standing position, slowly, carefully work it away, and then we're done with that. Okay, so now I've gone to the ground. What if for some ungodly reason, right, my gun runs dry, it malfunctions at something? Let's say in this case it runs dry. So let's see what a reload looks like if you have to do it. Which, by the way, this is like getting struck by lightning. One, in a fight on the ground. Two, having to reload in a fight. It's like getting worse than struck by lightning. It's probably not going to happen. But just in case, right? Why suck at anything? Why not try it? So notice I maybe have gone down, I've driven the gun up, I've popped it up, I settle the gun. 1, 2, 3, 4, I've locked back. So from there, what do I want to do? If I need to reload, just reload. So I drop the magazine while I go get it. Now notice what my muzzle does. It comes up here, so I'm still coming up. Simply insert, relock, drive out, shoot. So notice I was able to do that on the ground. From there, I work my way back up, carefully, slowly, make sure my world is safe, carefully, slowly, visually look the gun back into the holster, and then reconceal it from the fight aspect. But notice I was able to reload the gun while on the ground. It's no different than standing here and doing a reload. I just bring the gun here closer to my center line, and because I'm laying down the ground, it now the muzzle, instead of being towards the target here, so I can load it easily. I'm just turning it and putting it in here, no different, right? Just put me on my back, and that brings the muzzle up like that. Okay, so there you go, a reload from the ground. Okay, here's a drill for you. You're gonna go up and down from the ground, right? You're gonna get up, you're gonna go down to the ground from some position on your back, maybe even your side. You're gonna see here, you're gonna draw the gun, fire. You're safely gonna work yourself back up, holster the gun, go back down to the ground in a different position, and keep doing this until you get the feel for it. And while you're shooting, you can't see my target, but I want you sometimes shooting at the upper thoracic cavity area, maybe sometimes making more of a face shot type of hit or a more precision shot hit from the ground. So watch. So you're gonna work yourself down to the ground. Notice the muzzle went over the knees. Maybe you make a more precision shot. Whoa, you fall onto the ground, you bring it out. Nice precision shot. Ocular cavity area. So you get the general idea. Okay, now let me let you see the target. So we've made some shots at it. So here's my target.
Sure, I understand.
If you notice, multiple shots here, one to the ocular cavity area, and I have one outside this box here, but there you go. there you go. You can make precision shots from the ground. And it's a training skill, again, you should practice. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Winch here, Defenders USA. Go try this on the range.